Hello guys, in this tutorial we are going to learn about functions and how to create them and how to use them. Okay, so what a function is actually, a function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. So let me show you an example, then I'll go to this definition. So how do we define a function is, we use this keyword def and declare the name of our function or give the name of a function. And let me give my func, and then we give this parenthesis and then colon, and then we provide whatever code that we want to execute inside this function. Let me give this print hello I am my func. Okay, so this is what a function is. A function is a block of code. So we have seen here a function is a block of code that is that runs only when it is called. So what do you mean by when it is called is, let's see here. So if I run this particular code, so you see nothing printed here. But here we have written this print statement. Now, but why didn't it print anything? So that is what it is called. When it is called, it is like we have just declared that this function does this thing, but we haven't asked this function to do it. So if you want the function to do that task, we have to call that particular function. So if we do this thing, this is the way we call the particular function. We write the name of the function, then we give the parenthesis to call that particular function. So if I run this, you will see that this particular part has been printed. So this is how we call a function, and this is a block of function. So what is a function? A function is a block of code which only runs when it is called. Okay, so this is it. But it would have been like a bit what you can say, not useful if this function works like this only. But it's more than that. A function can take even arguments. So if you'll see this def print name, this is my function name. It can also take a value as a value to the function, and then use this particular value to compute or execute its code block. Okay, so if you see, I'll write print hello I am, let me give it name, go back to home and convert it to format string. So now we have declared this print name function. Let me execute it so that it gets declared. If I call this print name now with a parameter, suppose x, y, z, and leave it what it is. Okay, so once we call this particular function, okay, it is giving some error. Print name is not defined. Okay, see, we have forgot to use this t here. T. So let me run this again. So that print name is defined. Now if we run it again, you can see hello I am AYZ. Okay, so this is what how we can do is we can pass argument to this print name function. We can pass multiple arguments to this print name function as well. So if you can see, let me put first, let me put it in small, first comma last. So the user will give the first name as well as the last name. Let me put it as first here and then last as well. Now let me redefine this function that is defined, and now we can pass two values to this function, first, and we separate a second, or you can say last. Okay, so now if I run this, you'll see hello I am first dot last, first or last. So this is how we can pass multiple arguments to a particular function. But there might happen a situation where you don't know the number of arguments that we are passing to the particular function. So for example, let us create an average function avg that takes multiple arguments and prints those average. I'll just show you how to take that, but let's see, we have declared a variable name, marks, and we take multiple input from that particular marks and we print the sum. So let's just do sum is equals to 0. No, take sum total is equals to 0. Now we can just loop over this marks. If we pass multiple values, it comes as tuple. I'll show you. Okay, if let me write print of marks, and we have to print its type. Okay, so as to show that it is tuple. Now we'll take for mark in marks, and we'll do total plus is equals to mark. And then what we can do is we can simply print total divide by length of marks. So see, if you see it, for when passing only one value, we have used only one name. So similarly here also, but how this Python will understand, okay, there's only one variable, but how will it know that it takes multiple arguments? So for that we provide an asterisk here. That's it. So by this, the Python program knows that this marks can take any number of arguments when it is passed to this function. So see, this total we can also have calculated by using sum of marks, but I just wanted to show how we can use this marks in code as well. So I have used this. I have written it like this way. So let us define this particular function and use it. So we can even pass a single value. We can even pass multiple values. Let me pass 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. Okay. So here by these two we have passed single and multiple value. Let's see the result. So you can see this is a class tuple. As I have said, this marks the value, whatever value that we have passed here, all those are stored inside marks as a tuple, and then we can loop over the tuple and get the total and print it. So this is how we can pass multiple arguments to a particular average function. Now, as you have seen above in the example, let me go back to that and remove every other function and keep this showing only. See, here we have provided the first and the last name, okay, but there might be a situation where we also need middle name, okay, so middle. And there can be a situation also where this number of arguments that we are passing can extend like 10, 20, 30, 40. So in that case, what happens is you will have to remember the order in which these arguments are there inside the function. So suppose this is a print name function. So while using this particular function print name, we have to remember that whatever we have passed should be in the order of first, middle, then middle, then last. So let me show it to you. First, then comma, second, comma, third. So this is how we have to pass the value to a particular function, then only it will work because these are in order and we have to remember the order. But this might get hectic when there are approximately like a large number of arguments, like 10, 20. So remembering the order in which the arguments need to be passed becomes more difficult. So what Python has introduced is Python has introduced this concept of keyword argument. Keyword. So what we can do is, just like we have called here this print name, we can call it by using the argument name, like the first. This first was the name of the argument rendered, so you can call first is equals to then first, and in this way the order need not to be same. So what we can do is we can pick third first and put it here. We have to just say last, and last is equals to third, and middle is sorry, middle is equals to second. That's it. This is what we have to do, and hence you can see that we didn't consider the order in which we have to pass the argument. We just take the name of the argument and provided its value, name of the argument and provided value, name of the argument and provided value. That's it. If we run this, let me see. Yeah, see, it is the same as we have got here. Here we have passed in order. Here we have passed not in order, but using the keywords. So this way we can pass, we can use the keyword concept to pass values to a sprint function. So this will be helpful if we, that is, we don't have to remember the order in which the arguments need to be passed. Now, one more example, suppose if we have to pass multiple keywords to a function, then how we can do that? We have seen that for passing multiple values to a function, we use this asterisk, single asterisk. But for passing multiple keyword, we have to use double asterisk. Let me give it name MUL, then multi. Now we have to print the type of this multiple to see what it is actually and its value. So here we didn't define that how many arguments that particular multi will take, and how many keyword arguments that it can take. So we have provided just this thing, and now we will define this function and we'll use it and see how it works. So if you see, I can provide multi, and let me copy paste this same thing here and put it here. So you can see we have passed keyword, then value, then keyword, then value. We have passed three keywords and three values here. So let's run this and see what else. See, so what comes is this type is a dictionary. So you can see whatever we pass here, the first one becomes the key and the second one becomes the value. And we have printed multiple. So you can see the key is first and the value is this first with a capital F. That is the value that we have passed. So this way we can pass multiple keyword arguments also to a particular function. Okay. Now one more thing, we can also pass default parameters to this function. So if you'll see uh, print name, and we take the value of n name, and we also take the value of the number of times that names to be printed. So if we do something like this, name into n, so it will print the name n times. But here, okay, let me show it to you, then it will be more clear. See, we have defined this. If we call print name and we give the name as suppose ABC, and we pass, suppose we want to print it two times, and if we'll execute this particular part, you can see ABC is printed two times. But if suppose the user forgot to give the second parameter and just pass its name itself, like suppose ABC. So if you'll try to run this particular, it will throw an error because this print name should take two inputs, n as well as name, but we have passed only one. So what happens is the user forgot to provide this n. So what we can do is, as a developer, we can provide some default values so that if the user does not provide that, it takes that default value. So let me provide n is equals to 1. So what I have done is I have said that if the user don't provide this, just take value of n is equals to 1 and execute the rest of the code. So let me update this function, update it, and if we'll run this again, you see it printed ABC once because we didn't provide n, so it takes the value of default parameter of n is equals to 1 and it has printed ABC is one times. Okay. So this is how we can pass variable parameters to this particular function. Similarly, we can pass a list also to a function or any object. Okay. Now, what is there is a concept called as recursion. So what recursion is, recursion means calling the function again and again itself. So let me show you an example. Def recursion. So it's a function. So what this function will do is, this function will call itself again. So something like this. So now you can see here that if recursion is called, it will call this recursion, which in turn will go to this recursion, which in turn we call recursion again. So this is a kind of loop that will be formed that will go on indefinitely. Okay, so why recursion is used is, some places this recursion makes our problem easier. For example, if we want to print the value of the first 10 natural numbers. Okay, so what we can do is we can just provide, okay, let me go through return first, then we'll come to this recursion. Okay, so each function that you can see here, uh, let me define it, I'll come back to it. So I have defined this particular recursion function. I'll come back to this and let you know what this is. But first, before that, let me show you what is return. So when we define a function, suppose this find max, and there we have taken a list of numbers. Okay. and we want to return. So what this return does, it computes the value, or takes whatever actions that has to be performed by the function, perform those, and then results some value from the function, so that whoever is calling that particular function can get the value returned and get the output. For example, see, we have defined the find max, which takes num and find the maximum of it and returns it. So if you'll see, we can do something like that. We can, let me define a list one, and let it be suppose 5 comma 1 comma 8 comma 2 comma 9 comma 6, all this. So this is our list, and if you want the maximum, we'll just, okay, what I want the maximum, and let me call this find max function, pass this list to this function, and this list, what it will do, it will take the list, go to this, it will check, okay, I have to return maximum of the number, so this maximum of this thing, because number here is the list, and returns that maximum value. So that maximum value here, it is 9, will be stored to this maximum, and hence we can use this maximum value here. So we can just print maximum max comma maximum. So let's run this and see what it results. So you can say maximum is equal to 9. So this is how to do. We can call the function, get the output from the function, and can store it so that we can use it later. So this is what return does. It returns value from the function, exits the function. So now let's come back to this recursion one. Let me remove these two. Now come back to this recursion one. What it does, suppose we want to print the value of first 10 natural numbers. So we can either use for loop, or we can also use this recursion concept as well, where this particular function calls itself again. So what here it is happening is, when we are, suppose we call this recursion, and value of n that we pass is suppose 2. So what it does is, it goes inside the function and check whether n is equals to 0 or not. It is not, because it is 2. It again calls itself as with the value of n minus 1. That is, it will, now this recursion will be called with the value of 1. It will again come, it will print, let me print this thing as well, so that it will be easy for us to see. It will print and again call n minus 1. Now n value is 1. It will do 1 minus 1, 0. Go back to this recursion again with the value of 0, and then it will check, okay, it is 0. Then we provide the return condition, because we have seen previously, if we don't provide any return condition, it will go on an infinite loop. So what I have given, given a base condition, that if n is equals to 0, then return. So it will be returned to the function, then this function will not form an infinite loop. So let's see, if we call recursion of suppose 10. So what this thing is going to print? Okay, we have got some error. Okay, the spelling error. Recursion. Recursion should be. Let me copy this here itself. So let me define it again. Call recursion and run it. See, we have got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All the first 10 natural numbers we have printed using the recursion. We can also do this using for loop, but recursion are sometimes useful to easily solve our problem, and where this for loop like makes the thing more complicated. Okay, so this is the concept recursion. You can go ahead and Google it and study about this recursion concept more, like a function calling itself. That is the concept of recursion, and we provide a base condition so as to stop that infinite loop. Okay, so this is all for functions, and hope you have liked it. Thank you.